culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said no agreement on loan would be reached during his upcoming official visit to China. His comment came during a meeting with former Prime Ministers and foreign ministers at the Prime Minister's office at Singh Darbar. Oli claimed that the Belt and Road Initiative signed with China is not a loan-based agreement and that there is no need to discuss it now, whether or not to seek a loan from Beijing. The Nepalese PM will begin his official visit to China on December 2 at the invitation of the Chinese government. Hindu priest and religious minority leader in Bangladesh, Chinmoy Krishna Das Brahmachari, has been arrested at the Dhaka airport Monday evening. It comes amid tensions over minority rights in the country that has seen widespread political violence since former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's ouster. The arrest follows protests led by Hindu community in the city of Rangpur, located nearly 300 kilometers north of Dhaka, demanding stronger legal protections and a ministry dedicated to minority affairs. At least 4 Pakistani Rangers have been killed and 5 others, including policemen, injured after miscreants ran over security officials with a vehicle on Pakistan's Srinagar highway. The incident has occurred during the ongoing Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf protests. The protests, which have been ongoing since November 24, demand the release of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Today marks the 16th anniversary of one of the most tragic and harrowing chapters in India's history, the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Over 160 people lost their lives that day, including 26 foreign nationals, and more than 300 were wounded. The events unfolded over a 60-hour siege that left the city shaken and the nation in grief. But it was also a day that showcased extraordinary acts of courage and resilience from Mumbai's police, security forces and citizens, many of whom put their own lives at risk to save others. As we remember the victims of the attacks, their families and the survivors, we also pay tribute to the countries and the countless acts of heroism and the resilience that followed the tragedy. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday met his counterparts from several countries, including the UK, France, as well as war-ravaged Ukraine and Lebanon. This comes as Dr. Jaishankar reiterated India's support for an immediate ceasefire in West Asia, with a long-term commitment to a two-state solution. His comments came during the 10th edition of the Mediterranean Dialogue in Rome. The Israeli cabinet would vote on a ceasefire deal in Lebanon on Tuesday, according to reports. The Israeli Prime Minister has approved the plan in principle, the reports added. Netanyahu signaled his potential approval for the emerging ceasefire with Hezbollah during a security consultation with Israeli officers Sunday night. Special counsel prosecutors have dismissed the two federal criminal cases against Donald Trump in separate court filings on Monday. This, as they bowed down to the reality that they would not be completed or processed to trial before Trump returns to presidency next year. This move effectively ends the lengthy legal battle surrounding Trump's handling of classified documents and his attempts to overturn the 2020 election results. US President-elect Donald Trump has said he'll slap tariffs on Canada, China, and Mexico on day one of assuming office. Trump will change Mexico and China a 25% tariff plus an additional 10% tariff specifically for China on all products coming in to the US. Responding to Trump's announcement, China's Washington embassy has said neither the US nor China would win a trade war. Meanwhile, top Trump aide Boris Epstein is under scrutiny. This comes on the heels of allegations that he solicited retainer fees from individuals in exchange for promoting them for positions in Trump 2.0. Epstein, a key player in Trump's legal defenses and transition team, is the subject of a review ordered by Trump himself after trusted associates raised concerns about his actions. US President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden pardoned Peach and Blossom, two white-plumed turkeys, on Monday local time, sparing them from the Thanksgiving dinner tables, an annual tradition that also marked the start of the Democrats' last holiday season at the White House. The president returned from a trip to New York earlier, where he hosted Friendsgiving for US Coast Guard members and their families. The meal was part of the First Lady's Joining Forces initiative to support military families. Russia's defense ministry has said its army attacked Ukraine's military airport facilities and energy facilities over the past day. Moscow claims they provide support for Kiev's defense enterprises. On the other hand, Russia's air defense system intercepted 4 Ukrainian joint direct attack munition bombs, shot down 45 drones, and also intercepted 8 ballistic missiles. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has said that 217 battles took place in the frontline areas. The Ukrainian Air Force, missile forces, and artillery units launched strikes on 12 Russian military concentration areas. Uruguay's president-elect Yomandru Orsi has said he will prioritize relations with neighboring countries a day after winning the election. Orsi said good regional bonds were important because in a month everything can change. The world is sitting on a powder keg. He made the statements while visiting Broad Front leader and former president Jose Pepe Mujica at his ranch in the outskirts of Montevideo. Over to Europe, where foreign ministers attending the G7 meeting in Italy have inaugurated a new red bench. The installation symbolizes Rome's focus on fighting gender-based violence. The bench was inaugurated as communities across the world mark the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. A similar red bench has also been installed in the Italian embassy in Stockholm. Gender-based violence has reportedly claimed the lives of 99 women this year alone in Italy. The United Nations humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher has stressed that the organization, quote-unquote, must do better to support people in Sudan. This, as Fletcher attended an event in the war-wrecked nation to raise awareness about violence against women. The humanitarian chief also launched UN's annual 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence campaign, which this year is using the slogan, "You are not alone." Listen in.
When we say, "You are not alone," we mean this. You are not alone. We must do better. We must make sure that these words you are not alone, are not just words that people say into a microphone when they visit you, but they become the core of our work.
Women across Latin America marched to commemorate the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women on Monday. Many wore purple handkerchiefs, which have become a symbol of feminism, and green to represent calls for legal, safe, and free abortion. Feminist organizations and groups in Mexico City and Venezuela marched through the streets, chanting and holding banners aloft. Organizers called the demonstration the Butterfly Walk. It's a reference to the three Mirabal sisters who campaigned against Rafael Leonidas Trujillo's dictatorship in the Dominican Republic. In a landmark victory for the city's LGBTQ+ community, Hong Kong's top court has upheld earlier rulings that favored subsidized housing benefits and equal inheritance rights for same-sex married couples. The court's dismissal of the government's appeal has ended some years-long legal battles over the differential treatment facing same-sex couples married overseas under Hong Kong's housing authority policies and two inheritance laws.
I think the most important this is not only fighting for me and for my partner, but this is fighting for all the people, all the same-sex couples in Hong Kong. I do know many of them, they do have the needs to live together. They just want a little place to make their livings. But not many of them have the courage or have the ability to do this kind of legal actions.
Heavy rains caused severe flooding in the British city of Northampton on Monday. This as the second major storm of season battered England and Wales. Footage showed the devastating extent of flooding in Northampton. Streets were submerged by muddy floodwaters and rivers overflowing. UK remained on high alert after Storm Bert hit the communities over the weekend, leaving at least 2 people dead and disrupting road and rail travel. Turbulent weather is compounding the challenges faced by displaced people in Gaza. Heavy rains and dropping temperatures are making tents and other temporary shelters uninhabitable. Hamas's officials in the coastal enclave said on Monday that nearly 10,000 tents had been swept away by flooding over the past 2 days. This adds to the earlier warnings about the risk facing those sheltering in low-lying floodplains, including areas designated as humanitarian zones. Listen in to this chilling voice note from Gaza.
متنا إنه بيجي قديش إحنا على البحر 8 أشهر دبنا عينا ومتنا من البرد في شواعي ولا فراش ولا أي شيء ولا كابونات ولا أي شيء ما حد مدور علينا ما حدش مدور علينا بالمرة.
Renowned Indian author Amitav Ghosh has been honored with the prestigious Dutch Erasmus Prize for his profound writings on climate change and its impact on humanity, particularly in the Indian subcontinent. Ghosh has delved deeply into the question of how to do justice to this existential threat that defies our imagination. The prize committee highlighted in its statement, the Erasmus Prize, which will be presented by Dutch King William Alexander on Tuesday, recognizes quote-unquote exceptional contribution to the humanities, the social sciences, or the arts in Europe and beyond. Meanwhile, China is preparing for strong rains, winds, and snowfall as a cold wave grips the country, causing a sharp drop in temperature. The country's National Met Department or Center issued a yellow alert for snowstorms on Monday, with blizzards expected to hit parts of the country's northeast. The center says the cold weather will move into southern China in the next 2 days.
This is Amy's first Christmas on the streets. She thought it couldn't be worse here than the abuse she suffered at home. But now she's cold, hungry, and desperate to find somewhere safe to stay. No young person should be forced to spend Christmas like this. What does it take to get Amy off the streets this Christmas? It starts with a Salvation Army and a Christmas gift from you. Will you call 0800 083 6633 and give £19? Your gift means we can give young homeless people a warm welcome out of the cold. Christmas food and cheer, and a helping hand to find somewhere safe to live. So this Christmas, will you help us give Amy a fresh start off the streets? Call the Salvation Army on 0800 083 6633 to give £19 now. Thank you.
What's wrong with the car?
It's okay, lads. I'm with the AA.
Ah?
Bombay mix.
Because the AA has more expert patrols across the country, you'll be back on the road in no time. No wonder more people choose the AA. Join today.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I've got a few rounds left to go. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one, and you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 380 0060 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Quickly remove unwanted hairs with the new U-Body and Face Trimmer from JML. Your pain-free way to tackle any unwanted hairs that pop out of nowhere. The wide dual head design and floating heads adjust to the curves of your skin. Gentle enough to use on your upper lip, knees and ankles, and even your bikini line. No nicks, cuts or irritation. Remove unwanted hairs anytime, anywhere with the new U-Body and Face Trimmer. Only $19.99 from Asda, Boots, Morrison's, Tesco and JMLdirect.com. JML, your Christmas made easier.
Bitcoin has posted its longest losing streak for the period since Donald Trump's US election victory. This comes after a failed run at $100,000 and amid cooling fervor over the president-elect's embrace of crypto. The digital asset completed a 3-day drop of roughly 6% through Monday before trading at $94,532 as of noon Tuesday in Singapore. American electric vehicle maker Rivian has received a conditional approval for an up to $6.6 billion loan from the US Department of Energy. It is likely to be deployed towards a planned factory in Georgia. Rivian received unconditional approval from the DOE's Advanced Technology Vehicle Manufacturing Loan Program, the electric vehicle maker said in a statement. The loan consists of a principal amount of $6 billion and $600 million in capital interest. Citigroup is cutting the number of year-end promotions it awards. The move reportedly comes as it seeks to hold costs down amid long-term restructuring to shrink headcount. Managers have been told that as many as 2,000 Citi employees could get a pay hike and title in the next month. It's down from about 8,000 the previous years. Japan's Fair Trade Commission has reportedly conducted an on-site inspection of Amazon Japan on suspicion of violating anti-monopoly laws. The unit of Amazon.com Inc. is suspected of wrongly urging sellers to lower their prices on its e-commerce site in exchange for giving their products preferential placement on the site. Formula One has reached an agreement in principle with American car giant General Motors for its Cadillac brand to join the F1 grid as a new 11th team from 2026. In a stunning turn of events 10 months after American outfit Andretti's original bid to join the grid with backing from GM-owned Cadillac was rejected by F1 for either of the next 2 seasons, what appears to be a revised offering with General Motors now front and center of the project seems to have dramatically changed the situation. Shanghai's auto exports are showing strong growth, with just over 1 million vehicles exported in the first 10 months this year. This as the new shipping route to Peru's Chancay port opens. Listen in to Chen Jia, Head of Inspection Division 9 at the Shanghai Port Customs.
通关、查验、物流等多个环节，开设汽车出口绿色通道。今年前10个月，我们上海外高桥港区海关监管出口国产汽车累计达到了107.7万辆，同比增长28%。
A scientific laboratory in China has created humanoid robots that can play the piano and other Chinese instruments, with collections including the traditional Chinese musical piece, Butterfly Lovers. Google and Facebook owner Meta Platforms has urged the Australian government to delay a bill that will ban social media for children under 16 years of age. The tech giant says more time is needed to assess its potential impact. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's centre-left government wants to pass the bill. It represents some of the toughest controls on children's social media use imposed by any country into law by the end of parliamentary year on Thursday. Elon Musk's X has also raised concerns that the bill will negatively impact the human rights of children and young people, including their right to freedom of expression and access to information. Google and the US government faced off in a federal court on Monday over the antitrust case. Each side delivered closing arguments in a case revolving around the technology giant's alleged unfair domination of online advertising. The trial is in the Virginia federal court is Google's second US antitrust case now underway as the US government tries to rein in the power of big tech. In a separate trial, a Washington judge ruled that Google's search business is an illegal monopoly. Not only this, the US Justice Department is asking that Google sell its Chrome browser business to resolve the case. US private space company SpaceX has launched 23 Starlink satellites into orbit on Monday. According to the website, the satellites were launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida at 5:02 a.m. Eastern Time. SpaceX later confirmed the deployment of the 23 satellites. This was the 13th flight for the first stage booster supporting this mission. The world's biggest chip supplier, NVIDIA, has revealed a new artificial intelligence model for generating music and audio. It can modify voices and generate novel sounds. However, it does not have immediate plans to publicly release the technology, which it calls Fugato, short for Foundational Generative Audio Transformer Opus 1. China's Ding Lai Ren has defeated India's Gukesh Domaraju in their opening match at the World Chess Championship in Singapore. Lai Ren, playing black pieces, played an aggressive first match, surpassing the 18-year-old Domaraju with an early French defense. The first player to reach 7.5 points will be crowned the 2024 Chess World Champion. 13-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi was picked by Rajasthan Royals in the Indian Premier League 2025 auction held on Monday. He is set to become the youngest ever player to compete in the competition. The left-handed opener, who recently scored a century for India's under-19s against Australia's under-19, was subject to a brief bidding with the Delhi Capitals, but it was the Rajasthan Royals who secured the teenager for a whopping 1.1 crore rupees or £105,000. At 13 years and 187 days only, Suryavanshi became the youngest player to score a ton in youth cricket in Chennai last month. He broke the previous record of 14 years and 241 days held by Bangladesh's current captain, Najmul Hussain Shanto. Over in the US, Tiger Woods has bowed out from playing in the tournament he hosts in the Bahamas on Monday. On social media, Woods posted, and I quote, "I am disappointed that I will not be able to compete this year at the Hero World Challenge, but always look forward to being tournament host." The event takes place in Albany, Bahamas, and runs from the 5th to 8th December. Stars and creators from at least 21 countries gathered on the red carpet for the 52nd Annual International Emmy Awards in New York. Indian actor Aditya Roy Kapoor and comedian Veer Das posed before getting to the gala where awards were being given out. Das also spoke to reporters on the carpet ahead of the ceremony. He explained the connection between politics and comedy. Listen in.
All the same.
Are
I
we
think
fine
you
on
have
time?
to punch up, and people with power who you punch up at, and I think comedy and politics are very similar forms of public speaking, except with one you're laughing intentionally and one you're laughing unintentionally. Otherwise, they're essentially the same thing.
With a combined $270 million in worldwide ticket sales, Wicked and Gladiator 2 have breathed fresh life into a box office that's struggled lately, leading to one of the busiest movie-going weekends of the year. According to studio estimates, John M. Chu's lavish big-budget musical Wicked debuted with $114 million domestically and $64.2 million globally for Universal Pictures. In fact, it has made it the third biggest opening weekend of the year, behind only Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2. It's also a record for Broadway musical adaptation.
Something bad is happening in Oz.
I've got the scratch cards.
What's going on? Musical scratch cards!
It's a Bennett family tradition.
And go.
Never stops for me. Pass it to Katie.
Oh, Katie, what didn't you say?
Hey, Dad! Bless him in the arm.
Add some play to Christmas with scratch cards from the National Lottery.
During World War II, my great-granddad, George Arthur Roberts, was one of the everyday people who volunteered in the fire service and became heroes by night. He was awarded the British Empire Medal. It was thanks to my great-granddad and his fellow volunteers that there was a city to wake up to.
Discover the untold stories of World War II in millions of records and bring your backstory to life with Ancestry.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, You can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925, text C7 to 82727, or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.